Hey, what's up, card fighters? Back at it here again. This time I did borrow my friend's Tamayura deck just because I could have built my own and just like borrowed his broken toys, but I was like, let me just borrow his whole deck if I'm just gonna borrow the broken toys. So I did use his deck to get, what was it, second place, I believe? Second place or third place with Tama. The the only match I lost. Here we go. Quick note. I didn't realize I didn't start recording until like I after I rode grade one. So he won the die roll, and at versus, if you win the die roll, they let you choose whether or not you go first or second. So obviously they're playing Jet, so they chose to go second. So I went first. I rode up. That's all that was missed here. I just wanted to say that real quick. So let's continue with the match. But yeah, my only loss was to his weird Jiva Best Harvest build. That like he literally like built it last minute because he was like, "Oh, I didn't know you didn't have to counterblast for Best Harvest. This is OP." So he decided to just play it since I was borrowing his deck, and he actually went undefeated, which was like super sick. But we're gonna see like standard Jet plays, except he doesn't have the GG. So just went for like the triple grade one line. That's usually what they do when they go second. Pitch one of the grade one girls here to add another one to hand from the drop zone. Just making sure I have the right names here. I'm gonna Soul Blast 2 to put one of the swirlers into Soul here, which, thinking back on like the first and second match, like wasn't exactly ideal, but it was like I just had to clean up the board. I know like giving them extra soul to play with is just extra resources, but like it was my only way of cleaning up the board. So I just kind of like had to do it. Or at least if it kind of just felt like I had to like bite the bullet and just give them the extra soul. We're gonna go triple grade 2 here, and then gonna discard 2, grab a Jet from the deck. Looks like Jet was the only card that was upside down. So for all three games, my opponent actually went second for all three games. The reason for that is I just felt like I had more kill potential going first than going second, because usually Jet's hand is really not all that sexy in the early game, and that's usually where you can catch them slipping. To whereas like I felt like I had a good kill turn on my first Persona Ride turn, versus where if I went second, I wouldn't be able to. They would still stride by the time I would get to Persona Ride, was my logic. We're gonna pitch one here to ride into the Tamayura grade 3. Sorry for the glare, guys. I know it's like really bad in that one area. We're gonna call down one of each of the grade 1s here, swing for a vanilla 16. He's gonna intercept here and Soul Blast 1, so it's a 10k. Putting the grade 1s into Soul, which is mandatory. And we're going to call out a Ririmi and Rarami. I call out the one that sucks up rear guards again, and I call out the other chick, the grade 1 chick. Shove that to Soul, and then Counterblast and Counterblast. Call. So this is 13 at the Vanguard, which chooses to take. I get a critical trigger here, so I give critical to my Vanguard and power to the Soul Sucker. I'm the girls confuse me. They look so similar. I'm swing for 28 here. I'm just gonna call them by their effects. So chooses to take it. Gets a heal trigger here. Put him to Soul. Give 5k power to the other unit. Did he choose not to heal? Oh no, the heal didn't go off. I'm at 4 damage. But this is just a 5k block here. Over guards by 5. And that's the end of my turn. He's gonna discard to ride Jet. And then he's gonna discard the Bali to stride here. As you can see, like, my plan wasn't exactly too flawed because you could see how small their hand is, and my my strategy was literally just persona ride and kill on persona ride. That was like, again, that was the strategy. But I do believe we lose game one and we have to like clock back in game two and game three, I believe. So it's gonna swing for 15 here. I go ahead and take it. I believe I do lose on this turn, if I'm not mistaken, because my hand really isn't all that sexy. Call out the GG here, get the draw off GG. Swinging. Time leaping the GG back into an upstream dragon. Just standard jet plays. I'm actually going to speed this up a little bit. Just because like my opponent is like a tad bit slow. I am going to speed it up just a tad bit more. So this is going to be 33 swinging at my Vanguard. Which I believe I used the Blitz Order PG here. Yeah, I just used the Blitz Order PG here. First check, second check, draw trigger. He's going to give the power there and draw. And then third check, nothing. Then he's going to swing for 25, I believe, here. Oh no, he gave the power, he gave the effect power of Fate Rider to that guy, so that couldn't hit because of the defensive trigger. So it was a slight misplay there, I guess. Soul lasting 2 for the GG here. Now their hand looks way more healthier just because they resolved like 2 GGs in one turn. Guard of 2 15s, I believe, just because the defensive. That puts me at 53. We're in a Persona Ride here. Calling down a Forktail, looking at top 7. Believe I'm missing the girl that draws me a card. That's really what like kind of hurt my early game a lot, because I was missing the one that drew me a card. Also, this whole first game, like I didn't see the Broken Toys order, which me and my friend, like the friend that I'm borrowing his deck, we were literally talking about it, and I was like, hey man, like sometimes like I don't think Broken Toys is it low key, because like it's cool when you see it, but then like when you don't see it, like it like sucks a lot. We're gonna swing for a 25 here. Swinging for 28 with the Vanguard. I know it sucks that we put the GG into Soul, but like we just kind of had to build our columns. Like I said, we're missing the draw one. We only have the Soul one to play with in the first game, so it was just kind of like what we had to do. That's 43, so that is a 2 to pass here. We get a critical trigger, I give all effects to Vanguard, and we get a Broken Toys. Like, mentioning the Broken Toys. But, this is an obvious, like, the game is over. This is an obvious the game is over after this. Stride's in the Fate Rider because he doesn't have the jet. Like, it really doesn't matter here. Like, I was just hoping for, like, a defensive OT. That's the only thing that would save us here. And I was just telling my opponent, because, like, they were just taking so long to think, when I'm like, all the cards in my hand. Your combo is the same combo every turn. You don't really have much to think about here. So swings for like what, 14? I believe I just take it and like go on to game 2. Yeah, I take it and go on to game 2. One thing that has been getting on my nerves a lot lately is, like, you guys know, like, I've been on like a low-key tirade with like time, just cuz like I always try to like because more often than not, my opponent will play like a lot slower than I play. So it just feels like, just because like I really hate going into time. Time feels so unfair, you know what I mean? Like time just like time is literally like it increases like factors of luck in my opinion. Or like, oh, did you open optimally to like, safeguard your way through time? Oh, did your opponent check the key heal trigger or key critical trigger or even over trigger? Like, over triggers can be like automatic blowouts in time if you think like they're bad in regular matches. So that's why, like, me personally, I try to like play as fast as possible. And I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, I'm more strict lately with my opponents. I'm not gonna let them think for like 2 minutes on the same play they did last game. Like, come on. Like, I actually had this same problem at house, and like I told my opponent, like, you're taking so long, I'm not gonna cut your deck anymore. Like, just do your plays as fast as possible, but I'm not cutting your deck for the sake of saving time. We're gonna search the draw chick here, and then pass turn. Again, like I said, we opted to go first here just because I felt like my Persona Ride turn should be either like a really good push turn to whereas like we can deplete them completely of resources in hand, or like just an outright kill turn. Just gonna swing 8 here. We take it, get a defensive critical, which doesn't matter here. Baiting on what I want to pitch. Pitching the grade 2 guy that like when it's retired from rear guard or guard goes to soul. I just in this tournament I just preferred like the girl names instead to like the extra utility cards. Forktail did come in nice in certain scenarios, but like the other guys were just, we got Persona Red there. The other guys were just like meh in my opinion. Checks a steam breath and damage, and guards with steam breath here I believe. Yeah, guards with steam breath here. Pitches CHRONOJET here to ride the grade 2. Soul Blast 2 to draw a card off GG. And then Soul Charges 1. Swings with the Vanguard here. I do a 1 to pass here because I didn't want my girls to get attacked into, so I just do a 1 to pass here with a double intercept. Which I believe gets broken by a critical trigger. Yeah, it gets broken by a critical trigger. So we're taking 2 damage here. First damage, second damage, nothing. 18, we take this one here. Again, nothing. And then this is also 18, which we guard with a 15. Drawing for turn, pitch, right up to Tamayura. And then we actually do find the Broken Toys here, so we're going to activate Broken Toys. Get 1 name from deck and then 1 name from drop, I believe. Or maybe not. Maybe this is one of the times that I only found the 1, but I still get the draw because I have both names in the soul. Yeah, I had both. Yeah, I didn't have 1 in drop. Or a different name in drop. Play a column of the same girls here, just to make a number, or just to make an extra attack. Really, I'm gonna use the draw one here. I'm resolving the grade 1s first. I'm gonna Soul Blast 2 to shove the Interceptor to Soul here, just so he can't guard with it. And again, like my theory was to just like help clear his board and like deplete him of resources, even though I do give him the Soul resource. Swinging 18 here. This is going to give 5k to the other column. And then swing for 23. Gets a defensive here. And that's the last attack. And I'm going to Soul Blast one here to countercharge. So I did deplete my soul by a lot that turn, but I just felt like it was like necessary in that scenario. Cause again, look at his tiny hand. Look at his tiny hand. It is gonna increase by the end of this turn, but I felt like I was in a good enough position to where I could afford these plays. To whereas, that card will still be on board. Tamayura, I don't think Tamayura is a bad deck. I think you can compete with it. You just like it's one of those decks where like you have to build it right and you kind of have to play it right at the same time because it's not really an autopilot deck because all your plays are essentially two card combos because more than half of your plays revolve around having one of each name. So if you don't have one of each name, like you can't really play the way you want to play. Takes a while to think here, but ultimately decides to call the overtrigger. Instead of calling it in front of the Brain Swirler, decides to not even go for a third attack here, or for a fourth attack here, and just shoves the OT back in deck and calls out a GG to draw two. Which I found that to be interesting. Checking his soul, does have two soul to get the GG off, but I believe he just has two soul. I chose to reverse cut his deck because I really didn't feel like cutting his deck, just because like I was like a little bit peeved. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit peeved. So I was like, oh, forgot I don't want to cut his deck. We PG the Vanguard here. First check is a draw trigger. Where he gives the power doesn't matter, I believe, because like I think I have another PG in my hand, if I'm not mistaken, or like I just have enough guard to whereas the power won't matter. So it gets triple trigger here, which you would think would be an issue, but the problem with his triple trigger is all three of those triggers are just 10k shields. We guard for 48 here. Grabs a swirler. I don't cut. Again, I didn't want to cut his deck. Soul charges a PG. Swings, tries to count the number, but I just told him I'd take the attack. We're going to Persona right here. Call down a Forktail. Checking what I have in Soul, what I need. Shoving one of the grade ones into Soul. Call down another Tamayura here. What's in my hand? Yeah, do that. Yeah, okay. So we make another column with one of the other grade ones, and I just call down a trigger. Like I'm very well aware. I'm very well aware that this is my final turn. So, like my whole goal was to try and kill on this turn. So I'm gonna try and achieve that to the best of my ability. So this is 31, I believe. Yeah. So that's just two 10Ks, and then this is 33, which he guards for 38. Grab the two girls here. Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. And that's pretty much it. We're just swinging for 28 here, which I believe my opponent decides to take. We get a critical, so we're going to give critical power to one of the girls. And then we get another critical, so we give critical power to the other girl. Heal doesn't go off. Critical, and doesn't get a heal. So we're going on to game three here, which again my opponent chooses to go second, which is fine. Like I dictated during this whole match against CHRONOJET, like, oh, so if I go first, like I really don't care if they get first stride. I can just kill them on Persona. Was basically my logic. Like, oh, I could just kill them on Persona. Kill them on Persona or decimate the hand on Persona was the my initial game plan here. Don't know if it was entirely correct. My friend was telling me like after locals, like, oh, the way I beat CHRONOJET is I go second, and I'm like, that's cool, but you can't always go second. And he was like, oh, no, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. But every time I beat CHRONOJET, I went second. I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like going first is just better. I feel like going all 9 times out of 10 in standard format, unless your deck is like inherently a weaker deck, or a deck that like requires your opponent to already be on three, like Jet, going first is just like optimally better. Even when I was playing Minerva, I didn't mind if I went first against Jet because I just I just made really powerful lines and like rushed, like not rushed but like just pushed them to like 4 or 5 damage really early to where it's like, yeah, like I'm gonna kill you next turn with Persona Ride. Top 7, grab one of the grade 1s here. Call Forktail. I believe we shoved the girl that lets us draw a card, if I'm not mistaken. That's honestly the best one. The other one does come in clutch, like, because it does restrict intercepts by like you could like soul an intercept, which I think if you have ways of getting rid of intercepts, I think it's like low key slept on slash OP in this format because again, this format doesn't have a lot of shields, so like when you do take away intercepts, like it matters a lot. Grabbing another one of the grade 1 here. Do I have each name? Yeah, I do. I do. What am I doing here? Oh, I went first. I went first. I went first. I was like, wait, what? Why am I not attacking? I got so confused because I was calling the Forktails, but so my opening hand for this third game was literally Persona Ride, the Grade 3 Tamayura Order, Broken Toys, and 2 Forktails. So my thought process was like, if I do all this now, I have higher chances of hitting defensives if my opponent does try to rush me, which did come in clutch as you saw. My opponent checked the crit, I checked the front and the heel. I dropped the card here. Just really debating on what I want to do here. I do decide to commit one of the grade 1s. We're going to swing for 10 guards, swing for 8. Doesn't get a defensive. Swings for 16. Guards with a 15k shield, they go to soul. Discards Jet here to ride, and then discards Steam Breath to add another Jet, which I believe was his last Jet, if I'm not mistaken. Calls down double of the grade 1 10k to 15k interceptor. First damage check is a heal, so I go back to 1 and just kills my Forktail because it can't hit my Vanguard. And this is sometimes how the CHRONOJET matchup goes on, guys, because they, at least in my opinion, they rely really heavily on their first 3 turns or like 2 turns of their rush effectively putting you at high damage. And because like it can more often than not get shut down by damage triggers, sometimes it just doesn't. And like we saw here, like 2 damage check heals put us in a very optimal position to like not worry about his stride turn and just ride up to grade 3 if we were even thinking about not riding up to grade 3. Thinking here what I want to Soul Blast, I was just rereading the card and it does call from Drop Zone, so I just Soul Blast the 2 grade 2 girls. And then I'm going to activate the ability, Soul Blasting 2 to draw a card. I Soul Blasted the wrong girl here, so I just rectify that and call out the one I wanted to call out. I believe that's the one that gets 5k. Yeah, because I had the other one in hand. I have to attack in the correct order here. Just rereading my grade 1s. So I do swing for 18 here. Guards and Soul Blasts. Goes to Soul, giving 5k to the other one. So I swing for 23 here. Guards for 25. They go to Soul, and then I Soul Blast one to counter charge. Now I swing for 13 here. Soul Blasting 2 again to just draw a card. First check nothing, second check nothing. And then we swing for 10 here. At this point, we don't really care if he gets defensives or not, because we already did what we wanted to do on this turn. He realizing he didn't need the Soul Blast because it was just 10, and we swing for 10 again, and he takes it. So we put up to 3. Pitches the Bali here to ride, and then grabs another Bali, pitches the Bali. Strides. Forgot to draw off the Bali, which I do let him do, but then attempts to use CHRONOJET's on-stride skill when he already called a rear guard, so I would not let him do that because that effect has a cost, which means he doesn't have to pay it. So he did miss out on that effect, but that was, you know, essentially that was my opponent's misplay for, I guess, getting ahead of themselves. So he swings for 33 here. I choose to just double intercept and take the attack. And I take 3 damage here. He did double crit me. I'm debating on whether or not I take this attack. And I think I ultimately just go to 5 here, if I'm not mistaken. Just to, like, solidify my kill turn. Oh no, I guess not. I PG it. I thought I went to 5 here automatically. So I draw. We get the 5k from Tamayura, and then Persona Rod, so that's 15 to the front board. Checking my soul. We got quite a bit of soul to work with here. I'm debating how I want to do this. So we're going to Soul Blast, 2 draw a card, and then we're going to Counter Blast 2 for the girls. You can do Broken Toys here, which I probably should have done Broken Toys first if I did. Oh no, I think I drew into the Broken Toys, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't believe I get a draw here, unless I do have the other grade 1 in Soul. Oh, I do. Okay, so I get a draw of Broken Toys here, which looks like I drew into a PG. We're going to swing here for 33 since we did Persona Ride. Guards for 38. Give 5k to the other lane. Or no, did I give... No, I gave 5k to the Vanguard. So we're swinging for 33 again. And I believe this is just when time was called. So guards with 2 critical triggers. We're going to Soul Blast 1 to counter charge 1 here. And then we're going to counter blast for the Vanguard's ability. I'm gonna Soul Blast 2 here. I can only get one of the girls, so I Soul Blast a useless card. I grab the one that gives extra power. So this is 33 here, which he takes it. We had a critical trigger here, so we give power to the one that's not boosted. Heal trigger, but it does not resolve. And then a GG. So this is 33 here to his 23. So this is just a 15 to block. But then my other column is going to be 40, which my opponent can't block that. So see, there is only a 5k and a PG in hand. So that is the end of the match, guys. Just another one of those matches. You know, we've been cranking out those matches where basically we're showing you that CHRONOJET ain't shit. Just kidding. CHRONOJET is probably the strongest deck in the format right now, but it's not tier 0. It's very strong, but it is beatable. And that's why I do like to showcase you guys these meta matchups, to whereas I take like slightly unknown decks or rogue strategies into top tier decks. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are selling our playmats. Check out the description down below for all the info on that. And later.